We are going to change lives here today, and I'm so excited. The whole purpose and mission, women need to invest.
Sit down. All right, I am here to bring up my first guest. I met Eunique Nichole in Cleveland. I hosted a Women in Real Estate event in Cleveland. She got up on stage and she started talking about this deal and that deal, and I literally yelled from the audience, "You're speaking at my conference." Did I not? I said, "You need to come to Florida and speak at my conference." So can we give her a big round of applause? Everyone got to pick their walk-up song. Okay. Welcome.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this a great group or what?
Amazing group at 9 a.m.
And did you see how they were dancing?
Yes, Beth hyped you guys up. I already don't expect that from me. I can't do what she did.
You know, but that's okay if you're low key, no problem, because you are going to fill them in on the success that you have. So let's chat. When did you start investing?
I started investing almost 5 years ago. So
And
this
how did you
year
do
would be
that?
my
Like, how
fifth
did you-
anniversary. So, born and raised, middle class family, first graduate of my family, right? So, kind of went through life, figuring it out on my own. Went to college, got a job at PNC Bank in the foreclosure department, so I learned the ins and outs of the mortgage loans, and then I ended up going in litigation, so I learned the foreclosure process. I knew I needed to own real estate, but I didn't have any money to buy anything, so I emptied out my 401k account. And when I was talking to my parents about it, they was like, that's risky, right? Because how we were raised, you put money into your 401k account, and then when you're 65, you live off of that little bit of money. So they're like, you're about to take money into your 401k account. And I had about maybe like 60,000 in there. So I took it all out.
Now that's risky, right? Let's give her a hand for being bold and courageous. Can I ask how old you were when you did that?
I'm 34, so I was 29.
Unbelievable. Where did that courage come from?
I always had the entrepreneur spirit. I used to literally sell candy out of my locker in high school. So, and then I started a boutique out of college. So I always like had the drive, and the real estate portion came because I used to stay up all night watching HGTV. Like I love the design aspect of it. Like I can go in the room and literally transform the space in my head. So I knew it was a good fit for me, but I just didn't know, like I don't have money, what do I do, right? So
how much was the first, so you borrowed the 60.
So I emptied out my 401k account, and I am from Cleveland, so one of the cheapest places you can buy property. And the house was $35,000 at that time. You can't get a house for that price anymore, but.
Now, did you empty the 401k or did you take a loan against it?
I took everything that I could take out. So it was a loan against it. I got 2 loans. The first was, I think I took like $40,000 out. So that gave me the money to buy the house. The house
So
was
you bought it free and
$35,000.
clear, you didn't
Yes.
get a loan, okay.
And I had money saved up already because I was always, like I said, good with my money and saving. So I bought the house for $35,000. Everything that went wrong, right? Because I didn't know what I was doing. I ran through about 4 contractors who we could sit up and talk all day about that, right? But I mean,
hired Miller Commercial, if you hired Miller Commercial, we would not have that discussion whatsoever.
Yeah, so along that first flip, I learned a lot of do's and don'ts with the contractors. I think that's the most important part in the business, having a reliable contractor and exactly knowing what to do. But anyway, so I had a real estate agent who was kind of like guiding me through the process, but he had been a flip in like 30 years. So he's telling me, you know, what he was doing back in the day. So I was all in, I probably went about $15,000 over budget because again, went through contractors, but I sold that house for about $104,000.
How long after you bought it?
It took about 6 months to finish it. A 60-day job took 6 months, and I probably made about $23,000 off of the first.
But did you, when you like closed on that deal, were you thinking, this is unbelievable?
I was so stressed.
You're like, it's over.
Like when I got the check, I wasn't even like, I didn't even realize that I had made the money because I was just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
So, okay, so then how long between the closing and then you found the next deal to, how'd you find that property, by the way?
I think that it was just on the MLS. I was just looking daily to see what hit the market.
Did you have your license?
No. So I had a real estate agent and I was familiar with the area too. So it was a middle class neighborhood where I grew up. So that was like a goal of mine too, to like invest in the communities where the houses were affordable, but they wasn't as nice.
Yeah. Okay, so how long between that closing and deal number 2?
Deal number 2 kind of like fell in my lap. It was like, I was discouraged from everything that happened, but I was like, okay, this might be my calling because the house next door to me.
Yeah.
So the house next door to me came on the market. And, let's back up. I'm sorry, I missed the key point. The first house I actually did was the property, my house, right? So I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. So I bought my first house at 28 and it was a fixer-upper. Again, didn't know what I was doing, but I had did the research. I bought my house for about $55,000 and it was worth $150 at the time.
Wow.
After the renovation. So I went in there, it was a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and we renovated that property, but of course I didn't sell it. So I kind of like got my
feet wet. You could get some cash out there, right?
But I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know about a cash out refinance. I just knew I needed to own the property. So once I figured out what my house was worth and the house next door to me, it was a short sale. So people were discouraged about doing short sales because they take so long in the process.
Tell everyone, I don't even know what a short sale is.
Okay,
So please
so
educate.
a short sale is pretty much 9 times out of 10, the borrower doesn't have the money to pay back the loan for whatever reason. So instead of going into foreclosure, the bank works out a deal to accept less than what they owe. So for example, if I have a mortgage of $200,000 and I can't pay it or whatever, the bank might accept an offer of about $130. So it's way undervalued. But the deals take so long to go through because it has to go through a lot of approval processes at the bank. Well, I worked at the bank, so I knew how it worked, and I knew what you had to do to get the loans pushed through, so I wasn't discouraged. So, I bid on the property next door, and I got it.
And you're like, I need to be doing this. Like, I can't be discouraged anymore.
Yeah, so that was like the breakthrough of everything. Once the house next door, it wasn't as bad as the first one. Again, I love the whole design process of it, and I was like, oh, okay. This is cool, right? I can do this. And that one, from 6 months, it literally got done in 90 days. I'm not gonna say.
Did you find a contractor you could rely on?
A better one, but he was fired at the end of the job too. So, the last couple of years, I have finally find a contractor that I say that I can rely on, but even still, I don't trust any of them.
Miller, were you going to Cleveland, Miller?
Yes.
Now are all of your investments single family homes?
So recently, when the market slowed down as far as single family homes, it's a competitive market right now, I started going into rental property. So I do have a multi-unit that I own.
How many units in there?
It's a 3-family.
Great.
Yes.
Are those easier to find?
No, I wouldn't
It's all
say-
hard. It's all difficult now.
Yeah, the market right now is very tough to find a deal for a flip in my area anyway. So that's why I was like, I need to do more passive investments, and that's how I started getting in the rental game. But I'm still
So
good at that.
flips are like the plan is to buy it and flip it fast versus rentals, you're holding it and collecting the rent. I'm learning the lingo.
Yes.
Okay. So where do you want to go from here? Do you want to do more flips or do you want to do more passive with rentals?
I would like to do both. My goal for me, at first when I started out, I was like, I'm going to do flips, right? Why make $800 a month if I can make $30,000 in 60 days? But as I got older, it got wiser.
Yeah, Larry West is going to do, you know Larry, do you know Larry West? Larry, yeah, you're gonna go talk to her later about why the 800 a month over the, right? Yeah.
So that's when I first started, I was like, the math doesn't make sense to me, but now it makes a lot more sense to me, right? Because I'm getting 800 a month on 7 properties and I want to build the portfolio. So a goal of mine is to at least have 5 more properties in the next year. So,
All right. Woo! So you'll have 12.
yes, that's my goal.
Do you regret selling any of the properties that you sold?
A little, just a little. So my house, I still own it, right? So like I told you back then, it was going for $150. That was 3 years ago. This house on that street right now is selling for $250. So you can hold them, but it's kind of enticing because I'm like, well, do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to get rid of it? But I kept it, right? And I finally figured out the refinance game. So I refinanced it. So just working my way through all of that, I feel like I'm still new in all of this. I'm no guru like that.
No, we are all new. I only have 6 properties. We are all new. We are all new. Everyone here is new. I'm still new.
Okay.
I
Well,
promise.
you've
I'm
been,
learning. Where's Nikki?
they're laughing at that.
Nikki Perez. Where's Nikki Perez? Stand up. Nikki Perez is a mortgage broker, but she helped. We were trying to find a loan on this deal that we're working on now, me and Katrina and Karina. And I don't know how to do Excel. And if it wasn't for Nikki and helping us with the underwriting analysis, like I don't do Excel. I've got partners who I'm going to raise $1 million. They want to see like a spreadsheet. I don't do the spreadsheet. I know how to lease space and I know how to find good deals and good partners. But if it wasn't for Nikki with helping with the underwriting, so we're all new.
Okay, but
I did not know how to design a room. I could not walk into a room and design a room.
you are right. We are all new in different spaces of
We
real
are.
estate.
Exactly.
So this is true.
So, what is one, so gosh, you're thinking about this, 34?
I feel old, but yes.
You have 30 years, I have 30 years on you. You're going to be talking about a mogul when by the time you're my age, and I want you to do this event in Cleveland.
Yes.
Will you do it?
Of course.
And tell them, you do a mentoring program.
Oh, I'm
Please
sorry.
share that.
I forget a lot of stuff. So, so like I said about my background, I didn't have any guidance, right? I feel like if I would have had guidance, I could have been further ahead, right? If I know I'm 34, but if I would have started investing straight out of college, how much further would I have been? I didn't really have anybody to guide me along the way. So a lot of the women in my city would contact me on my social media saying, you're inspiring, I want to do this, can you help me? And I was like, again, I'm stressed. I just started figuring this out. I can't help you. And then I started a mentorship program. So now, like once a year, I do Zoom calls with a group of girls, and I take them to my properties. We tour the properties. I have about 20 women in my group. And the goal for us in the future is we're going to come together and we're going to do a massive flip together. We're just waiting on a deal. deal. So they're gonna put in about $15,000, $20,000 each, and we're gonna do some type of apartment building or some type of flip. We're just waiting to find a deal, so.
We love that. That's exactly what we want. I think all of us can do it. All right, one piece of advice to the women in the room that want to, but haven't yet invested. What's one piece of advice? Don't say find a good contractor.
No. Team up with somebody who you trust and just get started. Like I said, it was so many times that I wanted to get started, but I talked myself out of it for a lot of reasons. I think we're our own worst critics. We think we have to have it all figured out, but you're never gonna have it all figured out because you haven't done it before. So you literally just have to start. So.
You know, there's this great quote that I love. You don't have to be an expert. No. You don't have to be an expert to start, but you have to start to be an expert. And that's exactly, you just got to start. And we learn from you learned, I developed my first property from ground up. I went through 4 project managers. I mean, which is like a construction people. Like we had a construction company, but the project managers, because I don't know things that I could, and it was terrible. And I learned a lot, and we had to pay some penalties, but then I said, I'll never do it again. And then of course, tonight at the cocktail party, you'll see that I did do it again, but I learned and I found better project managers. In fact, Christina is in the room. Christina, and we have Christina, my property manager. Say hello. Yes, she's part of my team. We have an all-female team at AZOR Advisory. Not on purpose. I like men too, but it just called. But Christina Gazalarga, yes, she is our project manager on 2 big developments we're working on now. So it takes a team, right?
It does. I talked to a lot of investors who may have started with a flip and they're turned off because of the whole renovation piece. But I feel like the second one, once you get past that first one, it's like, okay.
That's how I feel. The second development was much better than the first. You're right. All right, so can we see if anyone has any questions for you?
Of course.
All right, we get to open it up for a couple questions. Does anyone have any questions for Eunique? Ladies. Yes, Kara.
Hi. So you were saying that you find foreclosures and short sales. Do you recommend going that route, and how do you find them? What's the best way to get your hands on that?
Can you repeat it with the microphone, Kara?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Mo.
Hi. So my question was, you were saying that you find short sales and foreclosures. Do you recommend going that route? And what's the best way to find those deals and get a hold of those deals? And I guess are there any particular obstacles with that deal? I know you said it takes a longer time.
They are better priced.
Yeah.
So if you can get your hands on one, I say yes. It all depends on what city you are in. So you can use a real estate agent. They're normally listed, right? So a short sale is normally listed. There is wholesalers. That's like a whole nother conversation. I don't know if you know what that is, but a wholesaler actually finds properties for you. And a lot of people just reach out to me because they know that I'm in the business, so they might send me deals. But I would say just get a real estate agent, and once you know how to calculate the numbers, it really doesn't matter if it's a short sale or foreclosure. As long as the math works, it really doesn't matter.
Okay. We're in the group. I'm in this Women in Real Estate group. Raise your hand for those of us that are in this Women in Real Estate mastermind group. So it's awesome. So they keep talking about wholesaling, and I keep calling it warehousing. And she goes, it's not warehousing, it's wholesaling. I don't understand what wholesaling is, so I do bring some levity to the group sometimes. So, yes, Stacy.
Hello. I have a follow-up question to Kara's. I've been looking at, getting into flipping, and one of the things that keeps coming up is kind of twofold. With the short sales and the foreclosures, I've been told in some ways it's more highly competitive and you really need to be a cash buyer, particularly in this market. And then with that, obviously, they oftentimes can tend to be neglected properties, so you're kind of walking into a lot more unknowns than you would, say, a traditional listing. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think that's true, and because that's just like saying it's just because somebody couldn't afford their property that they didn't take care of it. So I think it's just a roll of the dice once you get in there, and then you obviously need to have somebody with experience who can look at it and help with your due diligence on the property. But I wouldn't get discouraged by any of those. I would be open to look at anything. And I think it's all about your personality too and what you can stomach. For me, like I had told you, I was like, I thought I was Jonathan off HGTV. I was like, I could do anything. Nothing was off limits to me, right? However, somebody else probably wouldn't have done a full renovation. Literally, I did everything in the house. Everything. That might not be something you want to do on your first deal. Would I have did that now, knowing what I know now, would I would have did that big of a project? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's just really about just deciding what you want and having the vision for it, and then going from there.
And Stacy she is that person who can walk into a room and design it. So you should see the before and afters of her kitchen. So you absolutely should be getting into this. Unlike me, because I can't even do my own kitchen, it's 30 years old, so. Yes. Oh. Stacy, can you hand her, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tanya Collins.
Rockstar.
Thank you. I have my real estate license, so as for, I guess this is another follow-up question, but on the real estate agent broker side, right? So as an agent, what is the best avenue or contact person to talk to the banks, obviously, in order to like kind of communicate to get their listings and all that stuff and kind of be their go-to real estate broker?
Just to be clear, I'm no real estate agent. I don't know if anybody knew that I was. So for me, it was kind of different. So if you're saying like, how do you get that contact in the bank? It's normally just not like somewhere you can Google. I had the relationships already because I worked at the bank. I knew everybody who was in those departments, and a lot of people leave bank and they go to bank. So I literally had a lot of relationships at those local banks where I could just pick up the phone and call. But now they normally just have like vendors. So we're talking about 5 years ago when they didn't have really formal processes. Now they have like specific vendors that they use. So when a property goes to foreclosure, they have those specific agents and they have REO teams to handle all of that. So it's really not as easy to get in like you're trying to do. It's probably possible, but I'm sorry, I can't like give you that.
And Scott, we have a lot of lenders in the room. So Drew, Janine, everyone that's a lender, stand up. Okay, so we've got 4. And Nikki, mortgage broker, right? So, and so I've got Principal Mutual Life, I've got CV mortgage broker, I've got Sarah, where are you, Sarah? Stand up, lenders, these are all lenders. So, Stanya, would you all that are standing up be happy to talk to Stanya during the break? And give her some advice. But we thank you guys, thanks for being here, lenders. We are also gonna have a lender panel this afternoon at the end. They're gonna wrap us up and talk about how can it is literally calling, but I didn't know that either. I thought, in the beginning I used a mortgage broker because I thought that's what I needed to do and I felt more secure and confident with that. Now I will just call them directly, the lenders, because I've learned. Drew, you were out of the room when I gave you some roses about us doing our refi yesterday. Yay, so Drew will tell you that. All right, so one last question, yeah.
So I'm Eunique, Northbridge Commercial Real Estate in Tampa. Thank you, Beth, for leading this on. I have 2 questions. One is speculative, the other one is direct. Speculative is, how does anybody feel, what is the projection on the mortgages that were deferred because of the COVID chaos that we experienced? The people who had trouble paying their mortgages, deferred at the end, do we think that there's going to be an impact on that that's going to bring back foreclosures, short sales, something new and that an opportunity that you've thought about and that you want to explore?
I know the critics think we're gonna have another big crash, but I don't think that, and I still work at the bank too, just so we're clear. I think we're so far advanced in the world, they're gonna let that happen. I think they're gonna continue to bail out the borrowers and do whatever they can so we don't have another big crash. But if we do, I'll be ready for it, but no, I don't think that that's gonna happen. I think they'll keep deferring it, they'll give them whatever plans. And if it does happen, I think that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. I don't think it's gonna be I think we're gonna have a recession because of it, but I don't think we're gonna have like a
Not
flood of
necessarily a
foreclosures.
recession, it's opportunistic perhaps.
I don't think so.
Okay. Second one is, have you ever considered investing in your homes and then holding them for the Airbnbs, the VRBO, the pluses and the minuses, and your thoughts on that?
I have talked about it with a few people. I am still on the fence about it. Personally, I don't know if I like the risk. I don't know if I want to deal with people coming in and out of the properties, possibly damaging them. I'm still battling with that. I feel like there's a lot of other ways in real estate to make money where it's not as risk. And I think that people portray Airbnb to be a passive, and I think it's a lot of work. So I'm on the fence about it.
Okay, last question.
Hi, so I have a question about your financial life while you were, so you kept your full-time job, correct?
Yes, so
My question is, can you talk a little bit about what your finances were like? So you had this home that you owned, so you had a mortgage payment. What was your personal finances like when you took this big risk? And when you cashed out, did you take all of that money and put it in the next one? Yeah, can you talk a little bit about your finances? Does that make sense?
yeah, so I was graduating from college, so I was broke, but I was a graduate and I was broke, but I was probably making about $80,000 out of college at PNC Bank. So I had a little bit of money in my savings. I probably had about $25,000 saved up. I used a lot of that money to do the down payment. And like I said, I think that I was just fearless. If it didn't work, I guess I would have just been rebuilding my 401k. And I even feel today like I held on to my job just because of the fear of that security, right? Because at any given day I could walk away and be fine, but I think that it's just still a notion that I need to have it.
When you got 12, are you gonna walk away from the job? At what point would you walk away from the job? How many properties?
I didn't set a goal yet for me.
Okay,
I think like once I have my first child, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna just be a stay-at-home mom now.
Where's
right?
Howard?
So I just recently got engaged, and we're getting married this year.
There's a lucky man over there.
And I keep telling myself, I've been doing both, so
For sure. I can do both.
yeah. So,
All right, can we give Eunique